Happy Aquarius full moon, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. I am your host today, Brooke, and we're going to be diving into the Aquarius full moon. How are you guys doing? I know the last few days for me have been pretty intense, specifically with this Mercury retrograde opposing Pluto retrograde. So, how are you all feeling? Are you doing all right? Man, okay, listen, I got a lot to cover in this full moon lunation cycle. And before we dive into the chart, I do want to add that I will be holding my Aquarius full moon healing circle um, on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time zone, and you can find the link to join below. Would love to have you there. Love to have you with us. So let's pull up the chart for this Aquarius full moon, y'all. Mm-mm-mm. So this full moon is going to be happening at 16 degrees, 59 minutes, and it is going to be conjunct Pallas. Now, this full moon is going to be a very intense full moon. And the reason why I say it's going to be a very intense full moon is because we've got the nodes at 18 degrees. And you all know what the infamous 18-22 degrees truly represents. So, over the next 2 weeks, and I even hate saying this, but we could see a lot of people crossover. It's already started. It started as soon as the nodes switched, and I know I did let you guys know with my last Leo new moon update what was going on. But anyway, let's talk about Aquarius, right? Aquarius is all about the collective. Aquarius rules the 11th house, and it can be all about your hopes, wishes, dreams. It can be about getting the reward at the end of the journey, doing the work, being recognized by all your peers. In the highest vibration of Aquarius energy, it is truly about the people, okay? It's all about truly standing up for the weakest link. It is all about being the humanitarian. It is all about stepping in and truly doing what needs to be done to help those that need help. Okay. So, everybody that helps out when there's natural disasters, those are usually the true Aquarians within the collective. Aquarius does represent the collective of people. Okay. Not so much your friend group, but it does represent the collective. Now, Aquarius, this is going to be a Uranus ruled full moon because Uranus does rule Aquarius. It is the new traditional ruler. The old traditional ruler is Saturn. So Aquarius can be seen as cold, aloof, kind of not really there, but really, when you think about Aquarius, to me, in the highest vibration, Aquarius is kind of like the masterminds. Aquarius is that mathematical brain that's able to see everything and put everything together. I do feel with this Aquarius full moon that we're going to see a lot more exposed as far as crimes against humanity because the lowest vibration of Aquarius can be science experiments gone wrong. It could be the mad scientist, okay? And I always think of like the science experiments that were done in the middle or during World War II. And if you even fast forward to 2020, look at the science experiments that were done then as well. And I do want to note that RFK Jr. has been doing a phenomenal job in bringing all of that darkness to light. I have been keeping note for the last 4 going on 5 months of everything that he has truly been exposing, and it's been phenomenal, the things that he's been doing and getting done. So, how can you work with this energy on a personal level? Well, you want to look to see where this is going to be taking place in your birth chart, and you want to look at the area of where it's going to be happening for you. So, this full moon is going to be taking place at 3:54 a.m. Eastern time zone. Now, I am recording this on Friday night. It is 21:31, and the moon is already bright. It is already massive. It looks truly amazing. So, we're not going to have the easiest energy with this full moon, so it is going to be great in releasing. It's going to be great in letting go. But because we've got still this fixed T-square, okay, with the sun at 16 degrees, the moon and Pallas at 16 degrees and 15 degrees, and then having Juno, Juno, Vesta, and Poseidon all here together, 15 to 18 degrees. So we're going to be feeling a lot of towers as far as relationships go. Okay, we're going to be feeling a lot of towers as far as how do I fit into the collective? How does my individual gifts fit into what we're doing or where we're going? Now, the highlight of this full moon is going to be the kite with Mars. Mars is going to be at 1 degrees in a trine with Uranus that is direct at 1 degrees, also in a trine with Pluto that is at 2 degrees, and Mars is in that exact opposition with Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries. The energy is intense. I'm not going to play like it isn't. It is intense. There is a lot of combative energy, okay? Specifically with all this energy in Aries, the warrior, I want to fight. We now have Mars opposing Saturn. So it's like the collective is pushing back and saying, hey, we don't want to be controlled anymore. We don't want the illusions. We're going to push back because this didn't work. It was reported right before I got on here that there was a shooting at the CDC center. I want to say it was Atlanta. And the reason that the gentleman was doing it was because he was blaming the vaccine for him being sick. So, as these things are brought up, as these things are brought to light, we could even see Fauci be brought up in the next 2 weeks again. If I'm not mistaken, I did his birth chart and I'm pretty sure he is an Aquarius. I'm just going based off memory. Don't quote me there, but I'm pretty sure that he is. He does fit that mad scientist profile. Um, and I'm pretty sure Jeffrey Epstein was too. I know Ellen is an Aquarius. Um, Oprah? No, Ellen may not be an Aquarius, but Oprah is, okay? So anyway, the great thing about Aquarius is when Aquarius is truly in its highest vibration, it truly is for humanity. It is humanity first. Let's take care of the people first. The lowest vibration of Aquarius is where we truly get the people that are the mad scientists, okay, that want to do some crazy science experiments on people. And we're going to see all this brought to light. It's already happening, okay? Mercury is still in that opposition with Pluto. You guys, when you travel, we just have a few more days. Really, in the next week, it's going to be feeling a lot better, okay? Because we're not going to have this Mercury opposing Pluto. We're not going to have Mars opposing Saturn, and Neptune. So truly, it's going to start feeling better in the next week. Okay, we are going to have some shifts with the energy, but it's not going to be anything like what we've been through. Okay, the sun is going to be, I've already talked about this, in that square, in the T square. Okay. Because of this fixed T-square energy, you guys, we have to be flexible. And it's hardest for fixed signs to be flexible, and it's harder for fixed signs to allow for change because they are fixed. They're very fixated. They don't want to adapt. They don't want to change. They don't want to tweak and go in a new direction. They want to stay fixed. Now, Jupiter is at 13 degrees, Venus is now at 10 degrees, and they are working into that trine with the North Node. Now, I do want to note that Juno is still trining the North Node, and because of this Mercury retrograde, we can still have the past coming back around, specifically relationships that are meant to be coming together. Um, and really, Jupiter is trining Poseidon too. So we still have a lot of energy in water and a lot of energy in fire with Mercury and the Sun in Leo. Now, I did prepare you guys with the Leo new moon that there was going to be a lot of things brought to light with those that have been in the limelight, been in the spotlight, not truly doing the best for humanity, right? Those that have actually done some pretty shady things that have not been for the best of humanity. All of this has been exposed over the last 2 weeks. And I don't see the brakes stopping anytime soon. RFK Jr. has been the highlight of the last little bit because Mars has been in Virgo, activating that south node, bringing all the facts and the data up to the surface of what all truly transpired throughout 2020. Okay, there has been a lot brought to light, and I am collecting data to be able to show you guys in a video everything that's been done. Okay, I am hoping between now and Monday before Mercury stations that we don't see any more hacks. But again, keep in mind, if you are traveling until Mercury gets out of that opposition and starts gaining power or gaining speed moving forward, I would just be mindful of traveling. I was almost T-boned, and I couldn't figure out if the person was drunk or if they were just old and medicated. I don't know, okay? But me and this other girl followed home down the road for many, many, many miles, and she ended up calling the police on them. I didn't call because she did, but yeah, just be careful out there, okay? Um, Lilith is in 28 degrees retrograde in Libra. So, as you all know, over the last year, while Lilith has been retrograding in and out of Libra, I have been preparing you guys for the upheaval that was going to be coming within the judicial system. Now, Lilith retrograde is opposing Chiron retrograde. And we do have a cardinal T-square with White Moon, Selena, Lilith, and Chiron. Okay, so there could be some unresolved anger that's being brought up to the surface. There could be a lot of triggers that's being brought up to the surface. And one of the things is, and this is something that I want to share with you guys because it was on my mind today, you know, it's not anybody else's responsibility to tiptoe around anybody's triggers. If you're being triggered, you need to take care of that yourself. And I mean, the same goes for me too, right? It's nobody else's responsibility but our own. to really be able to see those triggers, to see those wounds, and assess the situation and see what role you're playing in it, okay? Mercury is in a trine, it's within a 3-degree orb of Saturn and Neptune, and Mercury is going to be sitting there, not moving really at all. Let's see. I know I wrote it down. Until the 15th. So the next 6, 7 days, okay, Mercury is going to be in that trine. So we're going to hear even more of what was hidden, what was going on behind the scenes, what truly happened. Let me tell you, we are in a time of exposure, and if you are being a shady, shady person, wild things are happening to expose your crappy behavior. Now, I can't remember when I spoke about this, but I did speak about this at some point in some of the content that I've uploaded. I shared that I come across this lady's TikTok, and she was talking about being at a car show and just uploading videos of the cars. And she gets a message from a woman wanting to know specifically where she was located because that was her husband's car and that was not her in the passenger seat. Like, random things like that, okay? Even, the CEO that was exposed, like, we are in the year of exposure. We are in the time of disclosure. And if you are not living truly in integrity, trust me when I say the divine is going to bring karmic justice, okay? It is in the air, specifically now that Mars has moved into Libra. So let's talk a little bit about Mars and Libra, okay? I have Mars in Libra. Mars is actually in it's conjunct Saturn. They're within a 2-degree orb for me, okay? So Mars and Libra, it's all about, okay, let's make sure this is going to be good for everybody. And the best way that I love to explain the whole Mars and Libra is if one person wins, everybody loses. But if we both sacrifice a little bit for us both to win, everybody wins. Okay? So it's all about really taking in consideration what's truly balanced when it comes to whatever it is that you're trying to get done. Are you approaching it in a way that's going to be diplomatic for everybody? Mars in Libra also really loves to chit chat, loves to gather opinions from other people. How do you feel about this? What do you think about this? Mars in Libra is not a very combative Mars. Mars in Libra can be very much a pushover because it's easy to look at the scales, it's easy to weigh things out, and it's easy to self-sacrifice because in the end, it's like, it's not really that big of a deal. However, I do want to say Mars and Libra, when it comes to the underdog, when it comes to the innocent, you better watch out because you will see a different matter-of-fact energy, okay? Now, Mars and Libra is going to be highlighting our justice system up. It started as soon as Mars was at that final degree of Virgo, it started happening. So we're going to be seeing a lot come out of the justice system. We're going to be seeing a lot of exposure. We're going to be seeing a lot of people that have done bad things be brought to light. Now, I do want to note that Hygeia is out of that square with the nodes. Thank God. Okay. And since Hygeia has gotten out of that square, I'm seeing the skies are a little bit more clear. I am hoping to see Marjorie Green Taylor's Clear Skies Act passed and gone through. Now, if we start seeing arrest take place with people that are in the justice system, this is a possibility, really, over the next 2 months, because Mars is going to work quickly through Mars is going to work quickly through, I don't see it. By the time Libra season starts, Mars is going to be on its way out, because on September 17th is going to be opposing Chiron. So as Libra season is getting ready to start, Mars is going to be working its way out of Libra, and the sun's going to be in there. So the next month, really the next 2 months is going to be huge. So you all hold on, okay? Now, let's see. Oh, that's cool. Learn something new. Okay, so on the 10th, on August 10th, at 3:54 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, we're going to have Mars in an exact trine with Pluto. Mars is now going to be at 2 degrees. Still trining Uranus at 1 degrees. They're within a 1 degree orb. Venus and Jupiter are going to be within a 2 degree conjunction. Okay. And technically they are in a conjunction. We're going to start feeling that energy even more while they hang out together. Now, their conjunction's not technically going to be exact until the 12th. However, when two planets are within 2 degrees, you can already start to feel that conjunction energy. The moon is going to be at 0 degrees of Pisces. Now, with this being a full moon, as the moon starts to activate this water trine, okay, specifically when the moon gets closer to this 15-degree trine with Poseidon, with Kronos here, okay? So this is Kronos. We could see some activity on the water. So maybe not this day, but on the 11th, okay, when the moon goes to conjunct the North Node and that trine is activated, because right now Kronos and Poseidon are all in a trine. So is Juno, okay? On this day, on the 10th, we're going to have Venus station direct at 27 degrees of Libra. And the sun is going to be at 17 degrees of Leo and is going to be squaring this Scorpio energy. So as this day progresses and the moon gets closer, it'll actually be conjunct on the 12th. But as the moon gets closer, we could see a lot brought up to the surface as far as any WAR that could be taking place on the water. I'm really hoping that we truly get this weather situation under control, because Mother Nature's going to bite back. Mother Nature's going to bite back to the point that it's going to be hard to handle. Okay. So I'm really, really hoping that they stop. I'm hoping, okay? I'm not saying that it's gonna happen because I almost feel like they're gonna have to be made to stop. But on the 11th, okay, you're gonna see here the moon is now activating Poseidon, Kronos, okay, and about to conjunct um, the North Node, okay? So Venus is now going to be at 12 degrees, and this is going to be at 3:30 a.m. Okay, Venus is going to be at 12 degrees. And then also on the 11th, we're going to have Mars. I thought I printed that one. Oh, here it is. Okay. Then also on the 11th, we're going to have the moon conjunct the North Node. Now, anytime that the nodes are activated, fated things happen. With this being a full moon lunation cycle, okay, there's going to be a lot that's brought up to the surface. Now, I do want to go back one, okay, because we're going to start out Monday morning with the sun at 18 degrees, and we're going to be squaring Juno. This is a day that we could see a lot of things happen, okay? Specifically, I am praying that Trump's really serious and he is bringing peace, okay? There was a lot of peace deals that were made today. However, this is one of those days because we've got the nodes at 18 degrees, because the sun's going to be at 18 degrees, squaring Juno, okay? There could be a lot of arguments and relationships, things like that, okay? Mercury is going to station at 3:30, and this is going to start the day. Okay. So we could hear some news about something actually happening. Venus and Mars, or Venus and Jupiter, are going to be within a 1 degree orb of their conjunction. And then at 10:30 a.m., we're going to have the moon conjunct the North Node. So again, something major could happen. I know someone was 3D Car Parts is his name now. I follow him on Facebook, but I also follow him on TikTok. He was screaming that there is a possibility that we could see some false flag events. And so really over these days, specifically with the sun at 18 degrees, the moon getting ready to conjunct the nodes at 18 degrees, we could see something. You know, Mars is trining Pluto at 2 degrees. Granted, Mars is in detriment, okay, but because it doesn't rule that. So, still in that opposition with Neptune and Saturn. I'm hoping I'm hoping that this is the end. However, I feel like the more that people push for the Epstein files, the more pushback that we have against big pharma, the more cuts that are made as far as funding to those at the top, we're going to see some upheaval. Okay. Now, on the 11th at 14:37, so this is going to be at 2:37. Okay. We're going to see Mars move to 3 degrees. So at this point, things are already going to start feeling better as far as the Saturn and Neptune opposition. Okay. It's going to be working out of its trine with Uranus. So those curveballs coming straight out of nowhere, that's going to start easing up. Still going to have that trine with Pluto in Aquarius, okay? The moon is now going to be at 20 degrees, so already crossed over the north node. The sun will now be at 19 degrees. So at this point, we're only going to have Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron retrograde, okay? On the 12th, we're going to have Venus and Jupiter conjunct at 14 degrees. And so this is going to take place at 1:15 a.m. Eastern time zone. Look in your chart to see where they're going to be conjuncting. They're actually going to be conjuncting my progressed north node, which is kind of cool, okay? So look at where this is going to be taking place in your chart to see where it's going to be affecting you. This is going to be a pretty powerful day. I do feel on this day we're going to feel really good. We're going to have two of the great benefics coming together. Cancers, you know, really the cardinal signs, you all are going to be feeling this the most, okay? They are going to square caress. So I don't feel like, I mean, there could be some things that come up with as far as feminine wounds, because we're going to have two feminine energies squaring here. But really, in all honesty, even with this square, because it's an asteroid, I feel, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got that right? Pluto retrograde, y'all. I do feel that, no, that's not right. I'm drawing a blank. We'll come back to that in a minute. I do feel that this is going to be a great day for manifesting. And Lilith is going to be at 29 degrees of Libra. So Lilith has really been working with Zeus to bring that darkness to light, to really expose the darkness, specifically with what's been going on with crimes against humanity as far as children are concerned. Now, Lilith is going to be exposed or opposing Chiron. Goodness, I'm struggling getting things out. Lilith is going to be opposing Chiron, okay? So even with this opposition, pay attention to any wounds that are coming up to the surface. Pay attention to any triggers that are being brought up, okay? The sun is now going to be out of that square by 1 degree, okay, with Juno. So I do feel even with these squares that we have going on here and here, but it's only a 2-degree orb. It's not a tight square. This is in a 1-degree orb. Pay attention to your triggers. Pay attention to what's being brought up to the surface. Now we still have Mercury direct opposing Pluto. The moon's going to be finishing up its time in Pisces and getting ready to conjunct Saturn and Neptune. Now, as the moon activated that trine with Poseidon and Kronos, I'm telling you guys, when Mars and Saturn was here activating those trines, there was a lot of activity on the water and things happened as far as attacks on the water over the last year. So I've really been watching this for about a year and a half, okay? So as the moon starts getting closer to Saturn and Neptune, really from 15 degrees up until its conjunction, we truly could see anything happen at that point. We do have white moon Selena squaring Chiron within a 4-degree orb of squaring Eris. Okay, I'm really hoping that we don't see anything this day, and it truly is a great benefic day since we're going to have two of the great benefics coming together. However, we really could see it starting the 11th going into the 12th. So on the 13th at 4:49 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, we're going to have the moon. I thought I pulled that slide. No, I don't guess I did. So it's going to be later on the 12th. I wrote it down at 9:15 a.m. So this is at 1:15. So at 9:15 a.m. on the 12th is when the moon is going to conjunct Saturn and Neptune. So on the 13th, we're going to have Mars at 4 degrees of Libra, and Lilith is now going to be at 0 degrees of Scorpio. So on this day, Mars is now going to be out of that opposition, working its way out of that grand air trine, and in a sextile with Mercury. So there could be a lot of news that's brought up to the surface on this day. I was quite shocked to see that it was released by RFK that the military was behind making the jibby jib jibs. It would not surprise me if we don't hear more of what's truly been going on there. All right. So if we go back in history, we know that a lot of the darkness truly comes from the warrior, aka the military. Now, some will argue we need it in order to protect ourselves. Some will say that we don't. We should get rid of it, and everybody should live in peace. And I do feel, as we are still considered an experimental planet for soul's evolution, until those karmic contracts are completely dissolved and people are not incarnating in having to relive those same lives, okay? It's going to take us a little bit. I don't know that we'll see it within our lifetimes. I mean, I would love to see it within our lifetime. I don't know. It's going to take a little bit for us to actually get to that point. But we all know that the military-industrial complex is behind a lot of what we see going on. Truth be told. But there could be some news brought to light on this day, okay? I do want to note that the sun and the moon are going to start trining a little bit later in the day. Mercury is still in a trine with Neptune and Saturn. And Venus has now left her conversation with Jupiter and is now at 15 degrees, getting ready to conjunct Kronos. On the 14th, we're going to have the moon conjunct Chiron. This day truly could feel like some of our wounds are being seen by the entire world, okay? This would be an absolute great day to focus on releasing anything from the past, okay? So any past wounds, anything that you've been holding on to, this would be a great time if you're being triggered, if things are being brought up to the surface, to have a true, honest look at yourself and see the role that you're playing in your own suffering. Because we're going to have the moon there. The moon is in the releasing phase. So let go, release, have an honest look about what's truly going on. Okay. What do you need to let go of? What anger? What resentment? What bitterness? Who do you need to let go of? Okay, so a lot of times we tend to hold on to people that keep us stuck in that wounded energy, whether it be friends, relationships, partners. Okay, on August 15th at 4:49 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, we're going to have the sun at 22 degrees. Here's those infamous 22 and 18 degrees, okay? There could be several people that cross over, specifically after the moon conjuncts Chiron, and then immediately we've got a sun at 22 degrees with the nodes at 18 degrees. We're going to have Venus trining the node, and there's actually going to be a grand water trine. So Venus is going to be conjunct Kronos, trining Poseidon, Vesta, Juno, trining the North Node. When the North Node and the South Nodes are activated, okay, because the South Node is going to be in a sextile to the stellium in Scorpio, but also in a sextile with Venus. Anytime that the nodes are activated, things are brought up to the surface, okay? And I also want to add that the moon is going to be almost in a fixed T-square, okay? As the moon moves closer to the 13, 15 degree points, going to be activating Poseidon and Pallas, okay? We're not going to have anything in that degree here, but however, keep in mind as the moon progresses, it is going to square the sun, okay? This is going to be a pretty pew day. When the moon activates the grand water trine in Pisces, when the moon conjuncts Saturn and Neptune, and then when the moon squares the sun in Taurus, those days, I'm praying nothing happens. We could see even more celebrities, those at the top, crossing over, okay? Because also on this day, Mercury is now going to move at 5 degrees. Mars is now going to be at 5 degrees of Libra, but also at 23:42, we're going to have Saturn at 0 degrees of Aries. The moon is going to be at 22 degrees, working its way out of that square because the sun's just now going to be at 23 degrees. So they're going to square right before the sun moves into 23 degrees. But when Saturn goes to 0 degrees of Aries, the moon's going to be at 22 degrees of Taurus. And all of this is going to happen on the 15th. So the 15th, I do feel, can be a very significant day. Keep an eye on your emotions. We know what, the 29 degree point and the 0 degree point are very intense points. We're also going to have White Moon Selena at 0 degrees of Leo. And as you can see, Mercury's now going to be working out of that opposition with Pluto. Thank goodness, okay? The next day that I want to talk about is going to be the 17th. So on the 17th at 6:42 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, we're going to have the moon at 11 degrees of Gemini. And it's also going to be conjunct Aldebaran. The sun is going to be at 24 degrees of Leo. And as you can see, on the 11th, Mercury stations direct, and now by the 17th, it's at 6 degrees. So we're already going to be feeling better because that's within a 4-degree orb of that opposition. So it's going to start easing up, okay? White moon Selena is going to be in a trine with Saturn at 0 degrees. The sun is going to be trining Eris. And Venus is going to be at 20 degrees, still in a trine with the North Node, working out of that trine, also in a trine with Vesta and Juno. So, if a fated relationship didn't happen during Mercury retrograde, this is a very harmonious day when it comes to relationships, okay? Because we do have Venus trining Juno, the planet. I'm sorry, it's not the planet. Mercury retrograde, thank you. It's going to be trining Juno. So, there could be love in the air. This is going to drive me crazy. Ding! Okay, it is an asteroid. I'm second guessing myself. Gotta love that. Okay. I had to check. So, now keep in mind, the moon's going to start squaring the nodes. So every time the nodes are activated, fated things happen. We're still at those infamous 18 degrees, y'all. And they're going to be there for a little bit longer. We're not going to see them switch in this moon cycle. On August 18th at 6:42 a.m., the moon is going to be in Gemini and is going to be out of that square with the nodes. The sun is going to be trining Eris. I do feel that we could hear something, specifically when it comes to war. I'm praying for peace. I'm praying that Mars and Libra is able to bring a diplomatic approach and we truly can bring peace around the world. I know it was shared within the last, it was either today or yesterday. So much information has been shared that it's hard to keep it all straight of when it was shared. But President Trump did say that his mission is to bring world peace. I want to see world peace. I do know that part of the 2030 agenda of the global world order is World War III. So as long as the man is bringing peace, hey, I'm happy. Let's see it. Okay. Now, Mars is now going to be at 7 degrees. Venus is also going to be working into that square with Eris. Keep in mind, the sun's going to trine And then just 2 days later, the sun's going to trine Chiron, okay? The moon is going to conjunct Hygeia. So we could, I'm hoping with the full moon cycle that we do see that Clean Airs Act passed. We'll see if they get back into session. I don't know. Okay, they've all kind of fled. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We'll see. I'm rooting for Marjorie Green Taylor. I hope it happens. Let's see. Jupiter is now working into its trine with the North Node sextile the South Node. So the nodes are really in great aspects, minus, oh no, it's not even aspecting that. The nodes are being aspected well, really. So that's a good thing. They're in great harmonious aspects. So we do have the energy for the light. We do have the energy for good. We do have the energy for humanity. I am being hopeful because of the groundwork that I've seen laid out already. However, I am also on high alert because I know we're going to see some resistance. On the 19th, on 8/19, the sun is going to be trining Chiron at 26 degrees. Now, there could be some wounds that are brought up to the surface. This would be a great day to intentionally work with whatever is being brought up to the surface because the moon is now going to be in Cancer. Your intuition is going to be extremely heightened. Venus is going to be at 22 degrees. Jupiter is going to be trining the north node, sextile the south node. Mercury is now going to be at 8 degrees. We're going to be completely out of that opposition with Pluto. Thank God. Okay. Mars is going to be at 7 degrees. So things are going to be feeling a little better. Okay. The moon will square Saturn and Neptune right before it gets to this point. So again, because of the sun trining Chiron, the moon squaring Saturn and Neptune, there could be some things that are brought up to the surface. As far as your healing journey is concerned, just remember when Chiron turns off, and Chiron's going to be at 26 degrees now, so it's now going to be retrograded back at 1 degree. So when Chiron turns off, it can feel like our wounds are on stage. Like everybody can see them, or we literally can get wounded, right? There could be wounds to the head. Okay, so keep that in mind. Well, that's weird. It just stopped doing it, huh? Okay, so on the no, I don't have it. I thought I did. Did I not send it over? Let me look. It didn't show up. I have them. So give me 1 second. Oh, gotta love this Mercury retrograde. Found it. Okay. I don't know why my laptop does this. All right, so on the 20th, I knew I'd run the chart. It was like, something's just not right. Okay, on the 20th, we're going to have Pluto retrograde back to that 1 degree. So we're going to have Saturn move, and then we're going to have Pluto move. Pluto and Uranus are going to be in exact trine. Mars is now going to be at 8 degrees of Libra. Mercury is now going to be at 9 degrees of Leo. The sun is now going to be at 27 degrees of Leo. And working out of that trine with Chiron. So the moon is going to be conjuncting Venus. Now, when we have that shift with Saturn going to 0 degrees of Aries, because of that 0 degree point, there could be some things brought to light, okay? When Pluto shifts, there could be some things brought to light, all right? Now, I do want to note that Jupiter is within a 3 degree orb of trining the North Node. So there's going to be blessings. There's going to be coming around for those that have truly done the work. If you have done the work and you have been truly honest about your wounds, you've lived in integrity, and you've truly been about humanity, the blessings are going to be showing up, specifically with Jupiter trining the North Node. Venus is now going to be within a 5 degree orb of that trine, so not feeling it as much. So really it's just going to be Jupiter at that point. So on the 22nd at 16:34 p.m., we're going to have the sun ingress into 0 degrees of Virgo. So happy Virgo season. We're now going to have Mars at 10 degrees, completely out of that opposition with Saturn and Neptune. Working into squaring Jupiter at 16 degrees, okay? Now, Mercury is going to be at 12 degrees. So as you can see, like once we get into the next week and Mercury starts picking up speed and coming out of shadow within the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're really going to be like, Mercury is really going to be moving full speed ahead. Now, the moon is going to finish up its time in Leo and ingress into Virgo at 1 a.m. on the 23rd. We're also going to have Venus. Where's she at? Venus is going to be squaring Chiron. So there could be breakups. There could be money issues. Something potentially could happen this day. As far as relationships, as far as money, as far as, you know, all the things like that. All right. Now, the new moon is going to be on the 23rd. What time is it? Oh, no wonder I'm tired. The new moon is going to be on the 23rd at 2:06 a.m. at 0 degrees of Virgo. And it's going to be conjunct Regulus. So, the energy is going to be lighter over the next 2 weeks. However, it is going to be a full moon cycle, so do expect things to be releasing. And If you want to see what's coming in for you, go back to the Aquarius new moon to see your intentions. Okay, let's do a reading. Let's do a reading. What messages need to come through for the collective? Messages need to come through for the collective for this Aquarius full moon. What messages need to come through? Let your fears dissolve. This feels like Chiron. Okay, let your fears dissolve. Attune to the divine. New moon in Pisces. Last quarter moon in Capricorn. Leave the past behind. Okay, there's some fears connected to letting go. Clear your mind. So this is what I get. Let your fears dissolve. Attune to the divine. Leave the past behind and clear your mind. Focus on the positive. Okay. It does feel like there is some fears connected to letting things go. Okay. Sometimes we block ourselves when we hold on to people that have served their purpose. And what I mean by that is some people come into your life to be a lesson, okay, a season, and we want to hold on to them for a lifetime, and they're not meant to be that. And they will hurt you until you finally let go of them. Okay. But we fear not letting go because it's all we know, right? Tell me more about what's going on. What messages need to come through, please, for the collective. What messages need to come through, please, for the collective. Okay, this card has been coming up a lot. Okay, you need to make a choice to do what's best for you. The choice to step in your power. Focus on what you are creating. And the only way you can help others is to make the choice to focus on you. Okay, the Death card was in reverse. Okay, I like this. It almost, because I just got really, really tired. It almost feels like you've lost your spark. It almost feels like, same if I said lost your spark, I get. It almost feels like you've lost your spark. But this is the thing, okay? In order for things to be balanced, you've got to get over endings. Okay, the fear of letting go. And the reason why I say get over the endings, because we know the Death card is okay, it's over, it's done. With it showing up in reverse, and I don't read reversals, with it showing up in reverse, this is telling me that this is the past that you've got to leave behind. Okay, bring the focus back in onto you. This card has been showing up all week long on repeat. Okay, somebody needs to hear the message because the message has been the same. I know. I'm like, can we get a new message? And they're like, nope, because whoever's watching needs to hear it. And I'm like, okay. Just remember, in order for you to be able to give in a balanced manner, okay, You have to do what's best for you. And sometimes that means letting things go, people, situations, situationships, relationships. Sometimes you have to let those things go in order for something new, exciting to move forward, okay? And I love, okay, even in the full moon energy that we got the Empress showing up. We got divine counterpart showing up, okay? This is giving me like divine counterpart twin flame energy. So whatever these fears are from this past, it could be a person, it could be a situation, it could be, let it go, okay? Pull the focus back into you. And then it's like, oh, I mixed them up, okay? And then it's like, this is what I've wanted. I wanted something that was stable. I wanted a new beginning. I wanted to get married, okay? To me, this is like, here's your ring. Here it is. This is also husband and wife energy here, okay? So get over whatever this past is. Let your fears dissolve, okay? Or walk away from anything that's not serving you. Do not hold on and block yourself, okay? This is important. These same cards have shown up all week, and you all have watched me shuffle. So somebody needs to hear it, right? Get excited again. Tap into your passions. Tap into your feminine energy. Tap into your masculine energy, right? We want to have that balanced masculine and feminine, truly, okay? All right. I love you guys. Happy Aquarius full moon. And I will link my full moon healing circle for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed the update. And I will see you in 2 weeks for the Virgo new moon. Love you guys. Bye.